Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the moderator of the next session, Laurence Norman.
Thank you very much. I'm Laurence Norman, Wall Street Journal reporter covering foreign policy and EU politics. Now, today's final topic is on resilience. And first of all, congratulations to all of you for your resilience of being here on a Saturday morning on a lovely day in Prague. Resilience is one of the great buzzwords of our time. It seems to cover everything. Fighting disinformation, resilience. Stocking up so that you're prepared at home for an emergency, resilience. Climate threats, resilience. Cyber and AI, resilience. Stopping acts of sabotage in our seas and in our arms depots, resilience. Military and economic strength to survive a conflict, resilience. It seems to be a million things to a million people. So how to unpack all of this and figure out what are the real threats, the priority threats for Europe to deal with among this bundle of issues. And that's what I'm hoping to do with my panelist, Mr. Vít Rakušan, who is the Interior Minister and Deputy Prime Minister of the Czech Republic, and welcome to him.
Nice to meet you.
Just a reminder to the audience, we love your questions. Keep them coming, but make them questions and not statements, please. Otherwise, I'll shut you down. Thanks a lot. Mr. Rakušan, what is resilience then? What matters? What are the real threats?
First of all, good afternoon to everybody. I used to be German teacher, yes, so sometimes when I speak English, you can have the feeling I speak a little bit German. So sorry for it, but I hope you will understand me. I heard everything what you said a few seconds ago, and everything what you mentioned, it's resilience. But we really have to see all people in our society that resilience is multi-faced approach. It isn't responsibility of the government. I used to be the mayor of one middle-sized Czech town, and me as the mayor, I was responsible for creating resilience on the local level. And I have to say, it's one of the most important moments what we can do for our society to create resilience on the local level. What does it mean? To have strong, really strong local ties, to be ready to face a lot of possible crises on the local level, and also to work with the responsibility on the local level. One concrete example. COVID time, really bad for everybody, and the mayors created in a lot of city halls around the Czech Republic the list of the people who are ready to help in the situation like this. And they can use these lists in the next crisis, connected, for example, with coming Ukrainians to their cities. So the local level, it's really something where the resilience of our society has to start.
We're 3.5 years into a war between Russia and Ukraine. If you look around Europe, how well have we done in improving our resilience in the face of that war and the Russian threat?
I am proud of Europe. I am proud of the Czech Republic because more than 70% of Czech people have helped somehow to Ukrainians. It's really amazing. It's a surprising number for me. And it's something it's the best proof that we are able to react when the real danger comes. You know, we had in the Czech Republic the plans for the huge migration wave. But the definition of huge migration wave before the war in Ukraine, the number was 20,000 migrants coming a month. And we in the Czech Republic, after the beginning of the war, we had 20,000 coming people a day. So we really had to implement new processes here in the Czech Republic, and very fast. And sometimes, before the war, I had really the feeling that we have only academic debates on the European level, just 27 speeches and going home by plane. But with the beginning of the war, also the European Union and European level was able to take the decision to have the real political debate on the European level. And it has been really a huge change. So I think we can learn a lot. The Ukrainian war, the Russian war against Ukraine is the right name, can teach us a lot. And it's also interesting, sorry for this last sentence, when we visit Ukraine, we are not the mentors, we are not the teachers. We can learn a lot of them because we can see how they were able to adapt their infrastructure for the time of crisis, for the time of the war. One example, under my ministry, unfortunately, is also the Czech Post Office. And the Czech Post Office and the Ukrainian Post Office is one of the main parts of the war infrastructure because the post offices can touch everybody within the state. They can be in contact with the people. And we have really a lot of interesting points which we can bring and take also from Ukraine to our European crisis management.
Yeah, Ukraine is almost a catchword for resilience, given the way they've coped. But I want to bring it back to Europe. Where are the biggest gaps? Where are the biggest weaknesses in the EU's resilience?
So when we speak about rescue systems, something what is really under the Ministry of Interior, surprising, we have a lot of common European strategies which we don't need so much. But newly we are working now, by these days, on a new civil protection strategy for the whole European Union, that all the systems in all the members' countries are able and are ready to cooperate in the crisis moments. And it's the biggest challenge now, just have the strategy and to see all the levels. What does the word resilience mean? It's local level, it's investment in education, it's a very important point, but it's also investment and care about our mental health. It's investment in infrastructure, digitalization, AI implementation, but it's also the coordination between all actors on the scene.
And what will that, under the EU vision, break it down a little bit for us. What will the EU be able to do when implemented that it can't do now? What will the 27 member states be able to do? What does it mean?
That the systems in all countries are in this moment or should be in 2 years really cooperative, that we can connect them, that we can exchange the information fast, because the information exchange in every crisis moment is the base for the further success, how to face the crisis. And it's something what's really surprising for me. I am 3.5 years in my position, and we had have a lot of debates about possible topics on the European level. But this one, it's something what the war in Ukraine showed us we have a lot of to do.
The Czechs are pretty good at resilience issues, certainly disinformation and some of those other things. Well, what is it about the Czech Republic that got it ahead of the curve? And if there are two things that Europe, that your neighbours and the EU member states need to learn from the Czech Republic, what are they? Two things, maybe three things.
I think here a lot of people from the Czech Republic are sitting at the moment here. So I am not sure if they have the feeling the Czech Republic is on the top in this sphere, but I think it's getting better in the Czech Republic, and we are just now working on one very interesting concept which can show very clearly that the responsibility is shared in the society. We are preparing the self-preparedness concept, 72 hours, the first 72 hours. How to behave in the 72 hours of crisis when you don't have the touch of the state, when you don't have the official help from the rescue system, and what you should be responsible for, and how you should it also explain to your children and to the young generation that we can have the types of crisis when the self-preparedness is the most important thing. It isn't the original Czech idea. It's big and huge inspiration from Finland.
Yeah.
Because when I should say one country which could be as example of good practice also in the sphere of preparedness for all types of crisis, it's Finland. And the educational system in Finland, they prepare the young people not with fear, but just with skills and with competition for some competencies for the crisis moments from the childhood, and you can see the people really know in this moment what to do. And I can tell you the example from the floods last year here in the Czech Republic. 3 villages in North Moravia were isolated for 3 days without signal, without infrastructure, without electricity, and without the help. So the mayor was responsible for the crisis management, and it's always good when he can count with the people who are well prepared for the time of crisis. So this concept, the 72 hours concept, we will have a special website, we will have also a special hotline, but we will deliver it to every flat and house in the Czech Republic.
And did the internet work for those 72 hours in Moravia?
It's the reason why we also make the print version, because in some moments you cannot count with internet. Yes, it's hard for everybody today, but it's the reality.
Okay, do we have any questions from anywhere? No questions? Yes, please. Just wait for the microphone to come to you. Thanks.
Hello, Mia. I'm a student at the English College in Prague, and I was wondering, you were talking about how Finland incorporates these teaching children from a very young age how to deal with these moments of crisis. Are there any plans to implement the same thing in the Czech education system? And if yeah, in what ways?
Thank you for this question. Yes, these new educational programs for the primary and grammar schools, yes, they will also, we will also implement these topics. We have to have our own methods, not the same in all details which we could see in Finland, but the most important part in the base for education is just critical thinking. It's something what we have to bring to all possible educational programs, because critical thinking people are really ready to see the importance of the self-preparedness in the crisis moments. We don't want to work with fear. We just want to show that in some moments the children can be helpful and can help to other people. How to help them, how to teach them. Please speak also to your parents what to do in this crisis moment. We, my generation, we have our experience with the time of communism. And it was just the preparing for the war against NATO. Yes, it was just our education, so I am well educated for my today's position. But you know, it was just something what we don't want to do. Some skills, okay, but it was like military education. No, we want to focus also on well-being of children, also on prevention on violence in schools. It's also resilience, but just on the preparedness, which is not connected with fear.
There's a question, I think, the lady over there.
Yeah.
If the mic can come over.
Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Ivana Pavkova. I'm from TMP. We're a think tank that works on systemic risk. And so I was wondering, in these times of deep uncertainty, when essentially we don't necessarily always know what the next crisis is going to be, how do you articulate the need, on one hand, to have a strategy, and on the other hand, the need for adaptability, flexibility, and reactivity? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have a lot of types crises in the last year. In my position of minister in the last 3.5 years, COVID, it was the end of this crazy time. Then Ukrainian war, then this tragedy on the Charles University in Prague, and also the biggest forest fire in our history, and the biggest floods in the last 25 years or 20 years in the Czech Republic. And we can see that we have a lot of types, very different crises. And it's something what we have that the preparedness for all types of crisis is necessary. And it's the self-preparedness of every man and woman in our society. It's the part of the education to be prepared on changing world of the century, and to be prepared that a crisis can come. So these skills are the base of the possible success, how to solve the coming crisis, but you also have to have the state strategy and to share the responsibility between a lot of institutions within the Czech Republic. Not the idea that the Ministry of Interior is the only institution which should be responsible for crisis management. We try in our new strategy take on board a lot of possible ministries, education, but also industry, because to be resilient, it means to invest to new technologies, to innovations, to be prepared also in the digital world. And not only education, social affairs, how to help to the people which or who are actually in the crisis time. It's also necessary. And also how to make our rescue systems modern and prepared also not only the hardware, but also the people who have this special position have to be prepared for the new types of crisis. So education and shared responsibility, it's the hard vision how to do it, and soft skills on every level.
Minister, I'm gonna take a chance to ask the last question as we get close. In February at the Munich Security Conference, the Vice President J.D. Vance stood up and said, "Russia is not your biggest threat. Your biggest threat is your own crackdown on free speech in the name of disinformation or misinformation and some of the other things that you're doing internally, which would clearly fall under resilience." How does Europe cope? And how do you convince your public to be more resilient when our biggest partner and protector is telling us off?
With all respect, I think Russia is the biggest danger for the Czech Republic, for Czechia today. We have with all respect to Mr. Vance, we have our own historic experience. 20 long years occupation of this country. Me as a boy, I can remember the Russian soldiers living here in the Czech Republic for 20 years. It was just the lost hopes for the generation of my parents. And I had the opportunity to speak in personal conversation to the head of MI6. And one sentence, which I still have on my mind: please don't speak about your state. You Czech people, don't speak about it as about small country. You are a middle-sized country. Don't speak about you are not important for Russian. You are very important for Russian. Traditionally, you are in the center of Europe. You are just the entrance gate to the European Union, and you, as one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine, you are the target. So, Mr. Vance, with all respect, we know here in Czechia, in Europe, we know it well who is our friend and who is our enemy. And we all here in the Czech Republic still have the hope that the United States is and will be our friend.
I suspect if I took a poll, I'll take it that poll agreed with what you said. Does anyone want to ask a very quick question for a very quick answer? Anyone in the room? Yes, someone towards the back there. Very quick, we've got 40 seconds.
Have we just
Sorry?
have we confused the civil defense with the prevention, talking about crisis preparedness?
Are
we leading towards civil defense? Because we're talking about crisis preparedness, right? In times of in speaking more about crisis management. What about prevention? Is this scaling up?
We have to do more for this field, because a lot of people also in the Czech Republic, we haven't done enough for it in the last 20-25 years, because it was just the feeling we will live forever in peace. It's over. So also the education and also, but it's for another debate in more details. But what is really important is the good cooperation between civil protection and all military services. And it's something what we are focused on today, because we don't have two security systems. it's one feeling of safety and it's one security. So the cooperation on this field is of the highest importance.
And
Sorry.
the time is up.
Okay, time is
thank
up.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Rakušan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that concludes all of our sessions here at the Havel stage. I'd like you to ask you if you could remain seated. We'll be wrapping up GLOBSEC Forum 2025 shortly. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the MCs of GLOBSEC Forum 2025, Latika Burke and Richard Jozwiak.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Latika, this is it. What a 3 days it's been.
Not much sleep, because there's been so much on, Ricard. 60 panel sessions in total. Did you get to many?
Pretty much all of them.
And 50 side events as well.
And then, of course, 100 of interviews. And Latika, I think Vladimir Zelensky will remember this GLOBSEC Forum.
I got to say, what a pro was the Ukrainian president.
A lot to pick up from him in all sorts of things.
Absolutely. So we opened this GLOBSEC Forum by asking you a big question, where Europe needs to step up.
And that was, of course, defense.
Yeah.
But now we're going to see here. We've been here for 3 days now. And now, with a show of hand, I want you to see, is Europe ready to step up? Hands up or down? My hand will stay down.
It's a hand up for yes.
Hand up for yes. Is Europe ready to step up?
You know, this is not a very overwhelming
That's
result.
sort of...
I would say less than a third, maybe a quarter.
Yeah, absolutely not a QMV, as you say in Brussels.
Okay.
So that's pretty bad. So they are as skeptical as I am.
It just means we have so much more to discuss at GLOBSEC next year.
Yeah.
Another task for you. Can you grab your phones out, please?
One last time, we promise.
One last task. We need you to QR and join this question for us on Slido, because we would like to ask you where you think, having experienced GLOBSEC for the last 3 days, where Europe needs to take the lead. One word answer.
One word, let's see.
And let's see where it comes in. I wonder if it will be any different
I think
to the answer that we got on day
maybe
one.
Artificial intelligence, maybe step up on Ukraine.
What are we seeing come through? Okay, we've got lots of typing.
Yeah. See what we have. Yep.
It's basically a repeat, isn't it? Values. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, that one was sort of, we have discussed that, but it's sort
hybrid warfare is not as big as I thought it would be. I think that's a very important one.
And then you got the economy as well, of course. I mean, that's always a thing, right? I mean,
look, defense is so core. Values is getting a lot.
Yeah. No, and it's defense with two different spellings as well. It's both American and British defense.
We have a lot of Americans in the room, and they're, of course, always welcome.
So, some housekeeping things now. After the closing remarks, I still hope you will join us for a farewell lunch in the Atrium restaurant. That's in the lobby. But then there's one big thing I really want to get across here. The real stars of GLOBSEC are not really, well, they are, but there are people on stage, of course. But the unsung heroes and the big stars are all the volunteers, all the interns, all the technical staff that have made this conference run like a clockwork for the last 3 days. And we witnessed that firsthand. They're so good.
They have been absolutely amazing.
Loudest applause.
And please, if you could, applaud them. You have no idea how little sleep they've been having these past few weeks.
That's always such a joy to come here because they are so good.
They are. And to close GLOBSEC 2025 is the leader of that team, President of GLOBSEC, Róbert Vass.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of GLOBSEC, Róbert Vass.
I was a little bit quicker than the voice of God. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, dear friends, partners, it is my great privilege to say a few words and few closing remarks at the end of this 20th anniversary of the GLOBSEC Forum. And I have to say that these 20 years was not easy. It was a 20 years that was filled with ambition. It was a journey, what a ride, but a fulfilling ride. And I think we succeeded in many ways. And I think we have not succeeded only to build an institution. I think we built something more. We have built an idea that connects, an idea that connects people who want to change the world, who want to contribute, who want to have an impact, no matter where are you from. So we have built a community from around the world who is coming here every year and believing that this is the right place to discuss about the future of the world. And that's the spirit and the DNA of GLOBSEC, because it's not only an institution, it's really a community that is around us, all the friends. So I want to thank all of those who have been part of this journey in the last 20 years. Colleagues, former colleagues, partners, sponsors, diplomats, and everybody who supported GLOBSEC. You are GLOBSEC, it's not only us. This 20th anniversary would be not possible without the great support of President Peter Pavel, and I want to thank him again. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Czech police force. I would like to thank also to the board of directors of GLOBSEC led by Willy Molterer. Thank you for your great leadership. And thanks to all of the board members, Peter Pudil, Kersti Kaljulaid, Anita, Gordon Bajnai, Maciej Witucki, Ivan Krastev, and all of the partners and members of the International Advisory Board. We are grateful also to our partners this year who have supported us, because without their financial support, this would be absolutely impossible. And let me thanks to Chess, Microsoft, Zscaler, KNDS, Saab, Amazon, Apple, AWS, Big Board, Colt, GDLS, Google, Helsing, Lockheed Martin, T-Mobile, and many of our corporate partners, institutional partners, and those who have been supporting us, like the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, Wilfried Martens Center, NATO, a new partnership of Anwar Gargash Center for Diplomatic Academy, and many, many others. But since this is 20 years, I want to thank also to one special person. I don't know whether he is here, and that's Rastislav Káčer, who has been with us at the beginnings of the forum, and who was very tremendously important in mentoring. But let me thank to the organizational team of GLOBSEC, because they have made a tremendous job, not only this year, but every year. You are really rocking the boat, whether it's day or night, and especially many times at night before GLOBSEC, when all the things need to be sorted. So I really want to thank Milan Solar, Natalia Ferenc, Martina, Daniel, Lucia, Emma, Sasha, Molly, Dora, Teresa, Daniela, Rastislav, Gabriela, Lucia, Dominika, Henrietta, and all their teams. You've done a great job. I think this 20 years of GLOBSEC was not only the largest conference so far. We had so many discussions and competing discussions. We couldn't be at every stage and at every discussion. I think colleagues have said all the numbers, how many of them were, but really dozens and hundreds of bilateral meetings. And I think what was quite interesting is that we had a lot of content. We had 9 reports that we presented. We had new initiatives that we kicked off here. So it's really, we have strengthened the foundations of ideas that we are bringing on the table. But let me have 5 key takeaways that I think we have from these 3 days. First of all, I think it was clear during these 3 days that the era of illusions is over. We admitted the facts because we are living in a disruption and a great transformation that will change the global economy, that will change the geopolitics, security, and international relations. So it's not just time to defend the old. It's time to mobilize and modernize it, modernize the multilateral system. Otherwise, we will not be able to save it. Number 2, I've seen your hands, but let me say my view. I think Europe is ready to step up. I felt it during the conversations here. Whether these were closed door, these were bilaterals, everybody sees and understands a sense of urgency that Europe holds a special responsibility in this world, not only to save multilateralism, but to step up, save the future of Europe and the world. And I think it's clear because we have come up with creative ideas on how to finance European defense, how to rearm Europe. We are focusing on critical choke points like semiconductors. There was a new semiconductor initiative launched at this forum on critical raw materials and many, many areas that were very concrete and brought very concrete proposals and results. Number 3, what was clear to me from the conversations during these 3 days is that there is an absolute need to redesign the relationship between public and private sector. Because still, many times, the private sector is seen only as a supplier of technology, as a supplier. This needs to be a true partnership. Without the partnership between public and private sector, we'll not be able to solve any kind of challenges that we are facing. Number 4, on Ukraine. I think there were a lot of conversations on Ukraine. And it is clear that Europe will not abandon you. Our goal is to put you in the best position of strength possible to secure lasting peace. Ukraine undoubtedly belongs to our community. And you, Ukrainians, continue to inspire us and motivate us to make us better. And I think the fifth point, which was absolutely clear during these conversations, was that technology matters, and technology is going to be the defining essence of any future geopolitics. If we are losing the battle for the technology, we'll be losing every other battle. And we don't have time, because what matters now very much is speed of adoption of new technologies and the scale. And we have to step up here as well. And I've seen a great determination, and I was so great to see so many tech leaders, innovators, and a huge group of international companies who traveled here to Prague. So 20 years of GLOBSEC, it's a closing of a chapter, but also opening a new one. We are looking ahead, and we are preparing the organization for the next 20 years, so we can really take up the challenge and contribute to making the world a better and a safer place. That's why we are strengthening GLOBSEC as a pan-European platform for global dialogue. I was so happy to see so many countries from Latin America, Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia represented here. It's so crucial. And second, we are strengthening it as an action-oriented policy institute, which wants to deliver results, which wants to deliver ideas and bring it to the table, together with public and private sector. And this is the platform that GLOBSEC is creating. With that said, we have the dates of the GLOBSEC Forum 2026, which will happen in May 21, 22, and 23. So you are all warmly invited. But let me invite also, before I finish the stage, the new CEO of GLOBSEC organization that joined us just a month ago. And he will be helping us to lead the organization into the new chapter and the next 20 years. And then I'm absolutely convinced that together we will be able to move the GLOBSEC to the next level. So I'm really looking forward to cooperation with you. But before you come, I really want to thank all of you who came, and I hope you enjoyed the conversations and the conference. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and it's a privilege to be really the last speaker of this year's GLOBSEC Forum. And Róbert has just thanked the many people who made this 20th edition unforgettable. But let me add one more name to the list, his own. Róbert, thank you for inventing GLOBSEC and for leading it with such purpose and impact. This year, over 2,000 participants from nearly 80 countries, more than 260 speakers came together under the banner "Commanding in Chaos, Time for Europe to Step Up." And indeed, throughout the past days, we have heard this clear message: Europe must move from ambition to action on the fields that Róbert outlined. And this forum has outlined a path forward in that. And we didn't do it alone, indeed. From North America to Western Balkans, from Africa to Latin America and Middle East, we brought together global voices to a truly global conversation. Our sessions were full, the discussions vibrant, sometimes very vibrant, on-site and online, reaching far beyond Prague. What matters now is really turning these discussions into results, policy, partnerships, and practical solutions, and that is what GLOBSEC stands for. Action, not just dialogue, and also this forum is more than just an event. It's a living network, so let's stay connected collaborate across borders, across sectors, public and private, and keep building on what we have done here. GLOBSEC will remain rooted in Central Europe, but we will develop to a truly pan-European and international platform, one dedicated to a more secure, more resilient, more competitive Europe, and strong partnerships and cooperation, because that is what is needed. We close today inspired and conscious that the challenges ahead won't wait. The responsibility is ours to lead. Europe needs your ideas, your energy, your commitment. Thank you for being part of GLOBSEC Forum 2025. We look forward to welcoming you back next year as we enter our third decade, ready to shape the future together. Thank you.